Hey guys, today we are going to be making an Asteroids clone using TypeScript. Asteroids, if you don't know, is a very popular arcade game, and it is also a popular game to make tutorials on. But it's a good way to learn the web APIs and the canvas operations in general. So let's stick with it. It's gonna be a multi-part series, and in today's video we are just gonna do the project setup and get some basic shapes drawn on the screen. And yeah, so let's watch this clip for a few seconds to see what the game looks like, and then we can start building. Here we go. Okay, I think that's good enough to see the gameplay mechanics. It's a pretty simple game. All right, we'll come back to this clip multiple times in the series just to reference some of the mechanics. I will go more into detail about the saucer ships, the UFOs, how the bullets work, and the scoring system. But let's get started with the project today. So here I'm in my terminal. We're going to be using Vite as our build tool and to scaffold the project. All right, so this is my node version for those curious. All right, so to create a new project using Vite, I think is npm create. Yeah, it's this command. We're gonna name it Asteroids, vanilla, and we're gonna use TypeScript. All right, let's cd into the folder and install our dependencies. Okay, so now we have our dependencies. Let's run this project. It's gonna start a dev server on our local host. I think you can run npm run dev. Yeah, I'm gonna run it on port 8080. You can also specify that in the Vite config file, but I think it's just easier since it's all just gonna be running on the side. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, so this is the default project that's created by Vite. We're not gonna use any of that. We might just keep the background and get rid of everything else. Okay, so here I'm just gonna let this server run, and it's gonna continuously monitor our changes and update the browser on the fly. I'm gonna be using NeoVim as my code editor, but feel free to use VS Code or anything you prefer. Let's cd into the folder, see what we have. This is the logic for the counter. We don't need that, so let's delete it. There's a bunch of styles here that we don't need. We'll come back to this. Let's delete this icon. Don't know what this is. Let's go to our index.html. Rename the title to Asteroids on web. We don't need this. We just have a canvas. We're gonna give it ID canvas. We'll set it height to 480, height to 640. We can increase this later on, but I think it's good for now. All right, let's go here. basically want to get rid of everything here. We can keep the body. Yeah, get rid of everything. Let's see what it looks like. I guess we don't need that. We can get rid of this as well. Okay, we have an empty screen. Let's open the console, see we don't have any errors. Okay. Sorry for blinding you with the white background. Let's fix that first. We'll do some sort of gray. Let's just try gray. Okay, it doesn't seem to be reflecting. Oh yeah, I guess we gotta do the import. Okay. Alright, now we go here and we can try something darker. Maybe 6666. Maybe one more 6. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Now we don't know where our canvas is, so let's try to put a border around that. So we'll do border 1 pixel black solid. It's fine. Okay. See the border here. Let's give it some space. We'll do 0 on the top and then do, I don't know, 30 pixels on the side. Okay. I think this is good for now. If you want, we can move it to the middle. All right. Okay, let's start by drawing something. All right. So in our main, we're gonna have our context via the canvas. So we first have to access the canvas element. Query selector. And query selector is actually generic, so you can give it like a specific canvas element, like that. That's really the ID. Now, if you look at the type of this, right? So it has null. But we are gonna force it non-null because we know it exists. I'm gonna do the same. Actually, yeah. Okay. So let's get the context from the canvas. So we'll do canvas dot get context 2D. Now this can be null as well. We're gonna force it just so we don't have to basically do a null check every time we consume this. Our TypeScript is not gonna be happy with us. Okay, so let's try to draw the player ship. So before we do that, just gonna show you this diagram. It just shows you the canvas coordinate system. So in canvas is the y-axis grows positively downwards rather than upwards. So 0 0 is basically the origin in the top left corner. And when we draw our player ship, we basically gonna move our origin to the player position and then draw relatively to that. That way it's just easier to manage the vertices or the points of an object rather than trying to do it based off of the canvas origin. Yeah, so in this case what we're gonna do is we're gonna move our coordinate system to the player position, right? And then we're gonna move our pen to the tip of the ship, and then we're gonna start drawing. The first point goes here, and then the second point goes here. And at this point, we're just gonna close the path, and the canvas API will basically draw the last path for us. So you don't need to have this point at the end as well. It'll basically be automatically closed. So let's try to write a basic triangle and then see where we go. And if you notice, I positioned the tip to the right. That's because it's gonna help us when we try to rotate this, because we're gonna assume that this angle, the angle basically starts from the x-axis, right? So this, for example, like if I have some axis, what is this? Yeah, so the angle is basically gonna grow like this way. Right, that's very thick. 1 second. All right, so the angle is gonna go like this. So it will be 0 degree starting from here, and then all the way you get 360. Okay. Yeah, all right, so let's try to draw a triangle. So I'm gonna define the player as an object first, just so we have a position. I'm just gonna create an object with x and y coordinates here, and then after we get the triangle drawn, we're gonna convert it into a vector, which is gonna help us throughout the process, for all the position management and velocity and things like that. All right, so I'm just gonna create a function, draw player. Okay, and now we need 3 points. So the tip, okay, wait, let's create an array. So it will be vertices, and the first one will be, okay, maybe we can draw some, we can have some constants for the player width and height. Let's start by 10. And height, maybe we can do 15. Okay, so the tip is basically some length h from the origin, right? So we're gonna say x is basically height and y is 0. Okay, and then afterwards we go here. So you're gonna say is negative h and negative w. Negative h, negative w. And the last one is negative x, and you just don't have the negative width here, so it will be positive width. Now you don't need to have the first tip here again, because canvas will close the path for us. Okay, so let's begin a path. So this basically marks, it just tells canvas that I'm gonna start drawing a path, and it's gonna So whatever you draw here, after this, it's gonna start recording. And then when you close it out, like let's say you say stroke or fill, it's gonna do the actual drawing on the canvas. So before we do that, we're actually gonna do context.save. So context.save and context.restore is basically a way to localize some operations. So for example, if I did this right, and then don't do this, afterward my context is gonna have fill style black even after I finish drawing player. And you basically don't want to pollute the context properties outside of what is required for the player, just so it doesn't have any other side effects on other things. So context.save and context.restore is a way to localize whatever properties you save here, and then once the restore is called, it's gonna all the properties here, like fill style, for example, we set it as let's say if I do red here, right, and then call draw player, once draw player finishes, it's gonna go back to being red even though we're using it black here. Yeah, that's what it does. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Okay, so we begin the path, and then we're gonna close path at the end, and in between what we're gonna do is, actually we forgot one thing. We need to move to the player position first. So we shift our origin to the player position so we can draw relatively to that. Okay, now we will do this spread operator. Yeah, it's the array spread operator. What it's gonna do is gonna give me the first element of the array and the rest of the elements as a different array. Because what we want to do is we want to first, actually I think context.move to doesn't move the origin, it just moves the pen. So we don't want to do that. We want to shift the entire coordinate system. So we gotta do translate. Yeah, player dot position dot x, player dot position dot y. Yeah, so the difference between move to and translate is that move to moves the pen, but you're still using the coordinate system that was already set up before. So for example, if you didn't change anything, it was the canvas original origin, that's top left corner, but we're gonna move that to player position, so we are gonna draw relatively to that. What move to does is it doesn't change the coordinate system, it just moves the starting point of the drawing. But what we want to do is we want to move to the tip, so it will be tip.x, tip.y, and then now for each vertex of the tail we want to do line 2. So line 2 basically creates a line from one point to another. Since we already moved to the tip, now we just need to go to the next element, vertex.x, vertex.y, and yeah, I think that's it. Let's see if it draw something. We got a call drop here as well. Okay, it doesn't draw anything else. Let's see. Fill style black. Let's change it to red. Oh wait, no. You gotta do stroke. This is where the actual drawing happens. So once you begin the path, you construct it, you close the path, and then you gotta actually draw it with the stroke. If you do fill here, it will just fill a rectangle, fill a triangle instead. You just want to draw the outline. There we go. We have our player ship. Okay, I'm just gonna change the colors a bit to match what the game has. We're gonna draw every entity as a white outline, and I'm also gonna change the background to what we have in the game. Wait, we don't need fill style. We actually need stroke style. Okay, yeah, there we go. Then I'm just gonna fill the background. I'll do it before here. Context.fill rect 0 0. Well, we need the canvas height and canvas width, so we're gonna save that as constants here. Height and width. I have these at the player values also the same name. Let's change those. I'm gonna call it small height and width. Okay, wait, I can just do this. Okay, now we fill 0 0, width, height, and before we do that, we gotta set the color. Fill style, something dark. Can I do dark gray? That's not dark at all. Let's do something with hex. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, I think we're gonna end the first video here. Thanks everyone for watching. In the next video, we're gonna do some movement and possibly get to the game loop. Okay, see you in the next one.